Okay, guys, I'm talking a little quiet because I got some guys in here finishing up a test, but there are a couple of things that we need to do here on this example number 3. Okay, the very first thing that I'm going to do is I need to rewrite the denominator so that it's in standard form. Whenever we write things in standard form, we're sure that we have everything in the same order. Okay, it helps us see when things are the same. Okay. So I've written this in standard form in the denominator, but the first thing I notice is that the sign in front of the quadratic term is negative, and we don't want that if we're going to try to factor. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that, or the next thing I'm going to do is take out that negative. So now I've got 2x squared plus x minus 3 all over the negative times x squared plus x, because all the signs inside now change when I take out a negative 1. Now guys, you'll remember with fractions, if I have something on the bottom that's negative, I can take that negative away from the bottom and write it out front. Okay, and this should help us out when we're writing our answers. Okay, now let's go ahead and factor the top. Now the top, of course, has something in front of the quadratic term, so I'm going to do 2 is 2 and 1, and then the back is negative 3. So I need to write all the possible combinations there. So negative 1 and 3, and 3, negative 1. Also, it could be 1, negative 3, and negative 3, 1. Okay? So let me go ahead and write that. That's going to be my new fraction once I factor these things. Now, if I look at the first two, this one and this one, I'm going to get 6 when I look at the outsides and negative 1 at the insides. And that's going to give me 5. So that's not it. The next one, if I look at the outsides, I'm going to get negative 2, positive 3. When I put those together, I get positive 1, and that's what I'm looking for, is that right there. So I know that it needs to be this one and this one. So I'm going to get on top, I'm going to get 2x and x, and I'm going to get plus 3 and minus 1. Okay? Then on the bottom one's easy to factor because there's nothing in front of the quadratic term right here, so I know it's going to be x and x. And then remember, the two numbers need to multiply to give me negative 2, but add to give me positive 1. So I'm going to use plus 2 and minus 1. Oh, look at those teachers here and here, right? Now, the last thing I have to do just before I cancel is I need to look at the denominators, the factors in the denominators, and I know that neither of them can be 0. Because if either one of them is 0, it's going to make the whole thing 0. So I'm going to look at x plus 2 cannot equal 0, and x minus 1 cannot equal 0. So then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I'm going to get x cannot equal negative 2. I'm going to add 1 over here to both sides, and I see that x cannot equal 1. So my restriction is going to say x cannot equal negative 2 comma 1. And then when I look at my fraction, because remember we didn't cancel, we were waiting to restrict first, and now we're going to cancel. X minus 1's cancel out, and I'm left with negative 2x plus 3 over x plus 2. Beautiful. Good answer, guys. Good job on that one. Remember, factor everything out in just getting ready to cancel, then we do our restrictions, then we go back and cancel it. Alright? Good job.